Welcome to Inside Lines, where the real is accepted and the fake is deflected. We're your hosts, Tia Avril.
And I'm Atoya Burleson.
And welcome to the second installment of our Highlight Her series.
So Ashley, tell us how you became intrigued with the cosmetic industry.
Honestly, it all began when I was a little girl. I remember I was about 5 years old. My mom and dad got me a clay makeup set. And I literally have been obsessed with cosmetics since then. I remember my dad walked in and he was like, "Oh, have you seen Ashley? She was playing in her makeup and it actually looks good." And so it's just kind of like been a running joke that I've been a makeup girl since then. In addition to that, my mom actually sold Mary Kay for a while, like on the side. She was a true hustler. So in addition to working her 9 to 5, she sold Mary Kay. And so I was able to like help her with that, sample products, just help her run that business. And so I feel like it's always been in me. And then not only that, I modeled for years in Los Angeles. And so I always got to try new looks and, new hair, new makeup. And it's just honestly something I've always loved. It's such a passion of mine. It always has been.
Yeah, so it was only a matter of time, it sounds like.
Exactly. It was always on my vision board. So...
Okay, so tell us about your company.
Well, my company is Elizabella Cosmetics. We currently have liquid velvet lipsticks, lip tracers, which is what we call our lip liners. We have diamond lavas, which are like a love child between a liquid velvet lipstick and a high gloss, because they have high gloss and high shine, but they are not nearly as opaque as the lip glosses that we have. So it's like the best of both worlds. You get high pigment as well as high shine. We also have our lip polishes, and we have our diamond dust, which are like a glittery texture. And not only can you use those on your lips, but you can also use them as a highlighter on your face, on your collarbone, or anywhere on your body, really.
That's fantastic. Listen, I want to talk about these different lips because sometimes you don't know when to wear a matte lip or a shiny lip. Tell people that want to know and understand when to wear what. Like, tell people how it works.
Okay, so you have your matte lips here. Your matte liquid velvet lipsticks are the lipsticks that you're gonna wear when you don't want any shine at all, because they have absolutely no shine. And those are really popular right now. A lot of women like to wear those, especially under masks. The matte lipsticks are gonna stay much better under a mask, as opposed to when you have a high shine situation like this. These are our diamond lavas. These are going to come off on your mask much easier. So I say for right now, during this COVID time, a liquid velvet lipstick is much better because it's going to stay put. It's going to stay in place for much longer. I actually wear my liquid velvet lipsticks under my mask all the time because I just still want some lipstick on, and they will stay on, especially the nudes, that you don't even have to worry about them smudging. So I'd say in this time, that's super important to note. Also, we have these high shine lip glosses, which we have Foxy and OU I love these over a liquid velvet lipstick normally. Unfortunately, with COVID right now, it makes it a little more difficult because they are so, they have a stickier texture because they're so high shine. So unfortunately, they come off a little more under the mask. But on a normal situation, I love a lip tracer paired with a liquid velvet lipstick and adding a little high shine on top. That's the perfect lip for me.
Oh. So on the outside looking in, like the cosmetic, when you start thinking about cosmetic manufacturing and like even launching a business in that realm, it seems like very complex. Like, how did you navigate that space?
Oh, absolutely. It's such a highly saturated, and it's so competitive. It's important to really try to get good quality. That was what I was looking for when I was looking for manufacturers. I was looking for the manufacturer that was going to give me the absolute best quality that I could find. So I ordered tons of samples. I did tons of research for manufacturers all over the world, different countries and everything, because I felt like it was super important to make sure that the formula was a formula that was going to be hydrating, that wasn't going to dry or crack or, have all those little flakes that sometimes liquid velvet lipsticks could have. I wanted to make sure the quality was on point. So I actually spent months doing research before I even purchased anything, before I even moved forward at all with my company. That's, to me, was the most important part of the process.
So let's move into the second quarter. Let's talk about people that are interested in maybe starting their own cosmetics line. What are some of the challenges that you face that you can kind of share with them?
Absolutely. I'd say the number one challenge is how competitive the market is, because you have lipstick all the way from, Target up to MAC or Neiman Marcus, And so women have a lot of choices nowadays. You have a lot of choices for a liquid velvet lipstick, a red liquid velvet lipstick, a nude. So that to me is absolutely the most difficult thing to navigate through. And it all comes down to branding. And it also comes down to like your hustle, honestly, because there's a million things to choose from. So what sets you apart? So in going into the cosmetic industry, I would definitely begin to really think about that. Okay, what sets me apart and what is my plan for sales other than online sales? Because something that I found is I want to branch out into retail space. Actually, I have a 3-month plan for that, because online sales can be so difficult. But when we do things like trade shows and we are in person, we sell so well. So that's something I've learned.
I'm glad you spoke about that because I was going to ask you. Like, to your point, the cosmetic industry is heavily saturated. And even when Atoya and I started the podcast, you think you get on the podcast platform, there's thousands of different podcasts, right? And so you made the point of you have to make sure you are what's like setting yourself apart, right? Mm-hmm. So jumping off the front porch, right, to start your business, you're in this saturated industry. Like how did you navigate like getting over that hump of like a fear?
Oh goodness, that was
if that made sense. That was a lot of words, but you got me.
Yes. That was something that held me back for so long. Just like the fear of the unknown, the fear of how it would be received, how it would go, would I fail? That held me back for so long. And then I just really began to think, like, after I had my kids, I took some time off to be a mom for a while. And then I went through a phase after my second son where I just felt like I didn't really know myself anymore. I felt like I was doing everything for everyone else. And I had completely lost myself and was so unhappy. And, when you're unhappy, everyone around you is like, ugh, So I was like, okay, I have to get over this fear. I have to do this no matter what for myself. And literally, I was talking to one of my friends and I was like, I've been wanting to do this for a long time. And she was like, so what's stopping you? Why don't you just do it? And I don't know, literally, that was the conversation where it clicked. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. And that week I started researching and I've been moving forward since then. And it was just a conscious decision that I made to say, no matter how I'm feeling, no matter how fearful I am, I can't live my life like that. I can't live my life in fear or how to be received by others. I have to do what's going to make me happy. And we'll see what happens. All that can happen is worst case scenario, you fail and try something different.
That's so true. You talked about the fear factor, and it's so huge because you are sacrificing, you're giving so much to your family, and then you're going to a completely different realm, right? So you're like, oh gosh, should I do this? Should I not? Should I stay in my comfort zone? And then you decide to take that jump. And then you veer into, okay, so now I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm a businesswoman. How in the world do I do this all? How is that for you?
Oh, girl, let me tell you, I'm still trying to work that out. Okay. I am so busy all the time. I'm habitually running late, which is like one of the things I hate most about myself. And I'm like trying to fix that. One thing I've learned is I have to be more organized. Like I always felt like I was organized, but when I started a business, I was like, hold up, we need something more here. And so I try to like do things ahead of time. I try to like prep things. That's key. Organization, prepping for things, staying ready so you don't have to get ready. That's a big one. Like trying to make sure you already anticipate what you may need so that's one less thing you have to worry about. It's also really important to have help, have help that can come in and give you a helping hand sometimes. unfortunately don't have a lot of family here, but the family that I do have, they help me out. My parents come whenever they're able. I was able to just take my birthday trip and my parents came and watched my kids. I hadn't been anywhere in so long, and I think they knew I needed a little moment. So having a village and having help, that's crucial. That's absolutely crucial. And just trying to stay ahead of the game, trying to keep the things that you feel like you're going to need, keep them together. So when you do need them, they're ready.
Yeah. So even still, it's impossible to think that you're going to be like perfect in every one of these roles, right? But you're trying to balance being a businesswoman, a wife, a mother. How do you handle the mom guilt that sometimes come with it, or even the wife guilt when you're like, well, I can't be there for you right now because I'm trying to be there for myself?
Right. It actually, I fight with that sometimes, especially the mom guilt, because, your kids are only young for a certain amount of time. And so I feel so bad sometimes when like my 5-year-old is like, Mom, come play with me. And I'm like, oh God, Mama really has to finish this right now. And that's something that that I still struggle with, to be honest. I said, because my youngest is still only 5 and I see how fast it goes. Yep. And so that's something that I still struggle with internally at times. It's like, gosh, how do I make this work? So honestly, it ends up being, me staying up super late at night because I'm going to go ahead and take this time to be family time while they're out of school. And, we can have dinner together as a family. We're going to play. We're going to do what we need to do. And then I end up having to, give up my sleep. So those are the balances that you have.
So speaking of balances, you're doing all these different things. And then you add something else to it. You decided to start a foundation with your husband. Tell us about that.
Yes. So my husband and I have always been really involved in the community. We've always felt like that's something that's really important and it's near to our hearts. And so recently, a little over a year ago, we started the A&A Peterson Family Foundation. And it's just been so fulfilling. We've been able to partner with so many organizations. We've been able to connect with so many people and give back in such a huge way. And that is just so fulfilling to know, because at the end of the day, that's what matters. How are you making the world a better place? How are you helping to make someone else happy, And so honestly, just doing what we can when we can is the motto. We try to kind of go by that and say, okay, how can we be of service? How can we help you? And so actually right now we are doing an auction. It's the Gowns for Girls auction. It all started with an idea because I go to, fundraisers and things like that. And I have all these gowns and I'm like, okay, what am I going to do with all these gowns? I need to clean my closet out. I don't know what to do with them. And I thought, maybe I can auction these off to benefit Carson Park. Carson Park is actually an organization that was started by Chester Pitts, former Houston Texan, and his wife, Atoya Pitts. And they bought a building in Houston. It's an entire commercial building. And they're making the whole thing a center for at-risk young girls. So they have
I love that.
Have been sex trafficked. They have girls that have just gone through all these different situations. They house them. They provide clothing. They provide food. They provide schooling. The teachers actually come to that center to school these girls. And I just felt like when I went and did a tour, actually we met Chester we were doing a camp at Atherton Elementary. We were putting on a camp for the kids there at the elementary, and Chester actually came by to support. And we met him. He told us about this girls group home he had, and I knew immediately that I wanted to get involved because any kind of way that I can pour into other women, I am there. That's one of my passions. I just feel like that's one of my purposes in life is to help pass on anything I've learned, any information I have, and help another woman, And so when he told me, I knew I wanted to go get involved. So I went and toured it, and I was just so amazed at what they were doing and how it was so genuine and from the heart. And I just was like, okay, whatever I can do to help you guys, I want to do it. And so that's where this idea came from. So it started with just me auctioning my own gowns. And then we got our PR involved to help us. And actually, Carson Park's PR as well. And now they were like, well, we can make this even bigger. We have these people that want to donate and these people. And it turned from an idea that I had in my closet to what it is now. And we're hoping to raise $50,000 because they need a new commercial kitchen to feed these girls. So we're hoping to raise $50,000 and it'll all go to Carson Park to help build their new state-of-the-art kitchen.
I love that.
It's amazing. Tell everyone where they can go to help, to contribute.
Thank you. So you can go to aapetersonfamilyfoundation.com and there's a link that you can click that says click here to learn more about the auction. We have some photos up currently of some of the dresses that we have. The auction will actually start Friday, tomorrow at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. At that time, you'll actually be able to go on and see more of the dresses, more of the items. We have memorabilia that's being auctioned off. I have a pair of like these glittery Christian Louboutins that I never got to wear. I'm auctioning those off. So lots of different things that, you know, whether you're a man, a woman, a sports lover, a fashion lover, you should be able to find something that may tickle your fancy. And every day we'll be adding new stuff to, you know, kind of keep people interested and excited. Every day there'll be something new on there until it's over.
Yes, yes. We'll be sure to check it out. But thank you so much, Ashley, for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you
Please
so
let
much.
everyone know
I'd like to add, if you do have a donation that you would like to contribute to the auction, you can email info@aapffoundation at AAPF Foundation is so long, familyfoundation.org. So info@aapffamilyfoundation.org.
And we'll be sure to put that in the bottom of the screen.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming on. We really enjoyed you.
Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed it.
Okay. I know you have to go to another one, so we won't keep you.
Thank you
again.
so much,
I'll talk
guys.
to you soon.
I would love to come back on another time when I have a little bit more time.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll talk to you. I'll call you.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
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 Let's take a break for halftime, sponsored by Bacardi.
So welcome to today's highlights, sponsored by Bacardi. So tell us what we're making today.
One of my favorite drinks is called Lavender and Lace. And if you don't like vodka, you could always switch out for gin, but we are going to be using the Grey Goose vodka. So first we're going to start with, I'll give you this one,
Okay.
1.5 ounces of goose for you.
Okay. I'll throw a little more sauce
You could
on
do
there.
3
Just a little
ounces
bit.
if you want.
Just a little bit. Just.
All right, and then we're gonna do 3/4 ounce of fresh lemon juice. Again, the fresh lemon juice, not the concentrated stuff.
Okay, you said 3/4.
It's like the 3/4.
Okay.
Thank you, mate.
There you go. And this is a homemade simple syrup with the lavender flowers, and then we use a water and syrup reduction, and then we shake it.
Oh my gosh, that's the other one.
There you go.
I am not a bartender, I repeat. I am not a
Anymore. And you never know. All right. I know what we do. So boom. And we'll do it separately, so I have the strainer.
Oh, okay.
You just strain it in your glass. Switch it to you. And then we're gonna garnish with an orange, which is dehydrated.
A dehydrated orange?
I take a little bit of some lavender flowers,
Okay.
strain it for you,
Thank you, ma'am.
and then you take a piece of rosemary, smack it.
We got to activate it, huh?
And then a little goose pen, like that. Boom.
Yours is
Presentation.
so pretty. I love
See?
it.
It's
I
a super
know.
great like cocktail as well.
Mine's not as pretty as yours, but I'll still show it.
I got it. Mine either. I got to work on my presentation.
All right. Cheers, ladies.
Cheers.
Cheers.
There we go.
Thanks, Bacardi.
Welcome back. Our next guest is Kristyn Bly. Kristyn, a friend of the show, is also a licensed counselor in North Carolina, and she recently started her company, Daybreak Counseling. So, Kristyn, tell us about Daybreak.
What do you want to know? Everything. Talk about your lead up to it. How did you come up with this idea and this decision?
Okay, it was not my decision, first of all.
Okay.
So everything that I do is at the command of God. He is the center of my world, the love of my life, and I'm always listening. And I'm sitting in a church service one day. Bishop is preaching, as he always is, and he says something about a morning breakthrough. And he says like daybreak breakthrough comes and something he was saying. And in my spirit, I literally heard, that's it. And I was like, that's what? So a few months later, the Lord's still speaking to me about maybe private practice. And then maybe a year and a half later, the idea is Daybreak Counseling. This is the name of your entity, and this is what I want you to do. And so here I am, beginning my journey.
Okay, so how did you get to the counseling realm, right? Is this something, did you go to school?
Okay, yes, I did.
Undergrad,
so that's
grad
what
school?
you meant.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. I did undergrad. I got my degree in psychology, a Bachelor of Science in Psychology, which I didn't want or care about at all at the time. I was like, okay, how do I get out of school the easiest way and fastest way possible?
That's real. That's real.
Study of the mind.
Exactly. I don't remember a class, any of that. And so, I mean, I got my degree, not my business degree, but I got my degree in college in psychology. And I was at home with my kids for about 13 years because, my ex-husband was in the league. And once he retired and we were all sitting at home together all day long,
Somebody had to do something.
I was like,
Somebody had to do something.
somebody's got to do something. And I really did feel like God was calling me to something different. I was bored. I really was. My last kid was about to go to school. And so I was like, there's got to be something else, God. I started to pray. 2 years later, I'm in school and I'm getting my master's in counseling.
Oh, awesome.
That is amazing, because I think about so many women who they do want to do something else, but they're not sure. They thrive in that comfort zone. There's like a little bit of fear there of stepping out. But like you just went for it. You were just like, this is what I'm gonna do.
I mean, I don't know about all that. It might appear to be that I went for it.
So do you feel like
But there was some time.
Like, do you feel like it took you a while to get there?
Absolutely. I mean, it took me 2 years to step out.
Yeah.
It took me 2 years to figure out
I
what
just
it is
feel like
that
when
he
you
wants
left
me to do.
Detroit, you were like, I'm going to school. And I'm like, wait, what? Like, I feel like it was quicker maybe because I wasn't in it. So I can see like why you.
Yeah, nah, it took a minute. And then even when I went to school and I applied, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing until I stepped into that first class. And I was like, this is it.
And you knew where you were.
Yes,
Yeah.
you can just feel it. There's a fire that kind of ignites when you're in your purpose.
Let's talk about purpose. What was it about it that just made you feel like this is it? Like, why did you decide to go on this realm of helping people navigate their own lives?
Yeah.
Right? Like, what was it?
I mean, I think it's just my own journey and the wisdom that the Lord, I think, gave to me along the way, especially in my marriage, I'm passionate about it. I love marriage. I love why he created it. I love what it is. It's hard. I think there's a lot of conflict in it, but when you are in a partnership, you grow in ways that you can't in other relationships. And so I wanted it to be my life's work to help people navigate it, to help them get through it, to manage it. It's hard, it's messy. And then also, and I don't just work with marriages, but I work with individual people as well. So I love kind of being down in the mess with people.
So you clearly understand the importance of going to counseling and therapy and things like that, especially in the NFL, which we'll get to in a minute. Okay. But especially as well in our community, people don't really go to counseling, right? They will go to church. They'll try to listen to God, what the people say, go pray.
Yeah, pray about it.
Go pray about it and whatever. But it is so important to make sure you have a counselor, go to therapy. You think about NFL players and they have that extra pressure that's thrown on them all of a sudden at a young age. What do you think we can do to like destigmatize going to therapy?
I wish I had like a one answer, but I really feel like I think you just have to go. I think you just have to try it. I think that stuff like this, where we're talking about it and we're making it explicit, like this is something that is like healthy, because it's not necessarily about being normal, but it's healthy. It's healthy to go in and to see the stuff that you cannot see. And you cannot do that on your own. You need somebody to show you your blind spots, because it is not possible to do that on your own. So I think just talking about it in a way that is very natural, that's where it's not about mental illness, or, you know, it is about mental health though. So if we could talk about it as like, hey, this is something that you do for just like growth. You know, you work out for your physical body. Hey, I'm working out for my mental and emotional health too.
That's
so
a good point.
It's not about mental illness. It's about mental health and growing.
Yes.
That was perfect. Perfectly said.
Yes.
You played that.
So, okay, so how do you, let's say I'm in a relationship and I know that I'm ready to go to counseling. I know that we need to go to counseling, but he don't necessarily think he's ready to go to counseling,
Go ahead.
or that he need to. He may be like, well, you crazy, you don't want to go. Like, how do you navigate those spaces within relationships?
Okay. So I had to navigate that space myself. So my ex-husband was not necessarily open at the time. He just wasn't. It's just like you said, that's not spoken about in our communities. We're not necessarily trusting of it. And why would we be? With like, we've been tested, we've been given syphilis and all types of things in our medical profession as people. So why would we trust the medical system? So I understood that he didn't necessarily trust. Then you now put the NFL on top of that, and people become fans, and maybe they want to tell your business. And so, you know, he just wasn't necessarily open at the time. But what does he have to do with me? Right? Like, I don't have to.
So he's not stopping you from going.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I said, and what I learned is, and I say this to people, I say this to like some of the women that I see when they want to have marital counseling, but hubby won't come. And I'm like, you can do marital therapy by yourself. Because here's the thing. You're in a system, a relationship, and if one part of that equation changes, the whole relationship changes.
So good.
That is true.
So you can change your marriage, not by yourself. I don't want to say that absolutely, but you're a very important part of that equation. And if you're learning how to set boundaries and how to care for yourself, then your relationship is going to be that much healthier.
That's good. It's funny you say that, because you're right, and you're talking about that specific person just going. But I think what people think is, you know, we're having in my marriages or a problem in my marriage, but it's his fault, so he needs to come and get fixed, right?
So
You don't
somebody
think
else
that
need
you
to tell him
get
it's a
fixed.
problem.
So
That's not a thing.
that, right?
That is not a thing.
It's not. It takes two.
It does. Yes, it
Good.
does.
So what do you think the biggest misconception it is as it pertains to counseling?
That you're crazy if you go. Or if I go, then I must be crazy. I hear that all the time. And maybe you are. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just playing. No, that's not true. No, that's not true. And it's not about, I don't even like that word, crazy. Like I said, it's just, you cannot see what you don't see. You need someone to kind of reflect it back to you.
Okay, so let's hop into the fourth quarter, because you just mentioned something. This past year has just been all sorts of crazy, right? And all sorts of like just changes within the family dynamic in general. And a lot of women have bore the brunt of those changes, right? And those responsibilities, et cetera. What advice do you have for women that's just trying to make it through and remain sane?
Yeah. Okay. Ooh. There's a phrase that I learned in school that set me free. It was the good enough mother. Ooh, yes, y'all need to clap for that. The good enough mother.
Amen.
The good enough mother, right? The good enough mother is not the perfect mom who is, you know, protecting kids from making any kinds of mistakes, or she's not the hover mom. She's not the hover wife. She's not the one that's like, oh my gosh, I got to do everything. No one can suffer. No one can feel bad. No one can make a mistake. No, the good enough mother is, okay, she's the one who kind of steps back and she allows people to make mistakes. She doesn't feel responsible for everything and to carry everybody else's weight. It is good for your kids and for your husband to struggle.
because then that shores up something in them, right? It builds up something in them. It prepares your kids for life. Life is hard. We know that as adults, right? So it prepares them. It gets them ready for that. And so when I heard that, the good enough mother, I was set free. Thank you. Thank you.
That is good. That's a
Yes.
great explanation of it. Let's talk about women supporting women and what it means to be a supportive friend. Or vice versa. Let's talk about that a little more. Because we know in the NFL, and just like you talked about, wives in general, the weight and the things that we carry. What do you have to say, or what do you want to share with other women that are listening?
Well, it's like we could do another hour.
We sure
in that,
could.
right? But okay.
But the two things that come to your mind.
Okay. The first one is empathy.
Good.
Okay. Empathy is not about, I don't know, like feeling bad for somebody, but actually going to the place with the person. So tapping into something emotional, inside of you so that you can be with the person that is with you. I don't need your lecture. I don't need your advice. I don't need anything that you would do, like you telling me what you would do. Girl, I would do. If that was my man, I don't need that. I don't want to hear that. That's not supportive. That's not helpful. Empathy is, I think, first, and like that's huge. And then just like, I don't know, I think just be accepting. Just like, let me have my own journey, my own process without you trying to give me your opinion of what it is I'm doing.
That's good.
That's good. Yeah.
I love that.
Okay. So last question.
Okay.
So what has your counseling journey taught you about yourself?
Oh, no.
Because, when you start to take on new responsibilities or you dive into different career paths, et cetera, you become a different person, right?
You do. Yes.
So what has this journey taught you about yourself?
First of all, that I guess that I'm like stronger than I ever knew that I was.
Yes, you are.
Oh, Lord, I'm about to like tear up a little bit. Let me just like pull it together right quick. Goodness. Stronger than I thought. Of course, that I'm not perfect for sure. And that like even in my own relationship situation, there were things that I failed at, that I didn't do great at. But just like being able to work those things out and to figure out how it was, how I contributed to my situation, I think really helped me to become a more mature person, a better mom, a better friend. Dre and I are really great friends. We're actually dating again. I don't know where that leads. I have no idea, but I just feel like I'm a much healthier person, but I'm stronger and I'm wiser, and there's a lot more in me, I guess, than I imagined was there.
It's funny that you say that, because T and I always talk about how wise you've always been, all the gems and all the amazing pieces of advice that you've shared with us. And we just appreciate you as a friend for speaking into our lives and teaching us as growing,
Absolutely.
Women and trying to figure out and navigate this world, because it's hard. So Kristyn, tell everyone that's interested, they want to talk to you more, they want to know more, tell them where they can find you.
You can find me at my email at Daybreak Counseling. So that's DAYBREAK counseling at yahoo.com. And I do have an Instagram at Daybreak Counseling.
Awesome. Thanks, Kristyn.
Thanks so much for joining us.
Yes, thank you for having me. I love it. I love y'all.
Well, thank you guys for tuning in to this second episode. Make sure you come back tomorrow for episode 3 of I Highlight Her series.
Holla.